Senators, last call at the bar. He'll throw it all out there. Carlson works it over. There's a shot. Great save by Lundqvist. Pandemonium in front. They score!
Yashin across to Duchesne. He scores! Steve! Duchesne!
Fisher sent it behind. Shamrock Albertson scored! With 3/10 of a second to go. Carlson got it over to scores! They did it! The Hopper scores! Hopper in time! Carlson across. Stone scores! Mark Stone again! And it is utter elation in this building right now.
It's over! The Senators are going to the playoffs for the first time in modern history.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode Gabriel Dumont of Elite Sens Brain. I'm here with many people today.
Yeah, we're a lot today.
We're a
Welcome
lot.
to also episode 119 of the Zubcast. So this has been in the works for a while now. Beata and I, we met up at a Sens game though, and we're like, you know what? If not when, because we were still, speculating at that point. The Sens make the playoffs. It's time for a meeting of the minds for the two best Sens podcasts out there for sure. So we're four people here. I'm here. Adam's here. Erickson's Burner and Beata are both here from Elite Sens Brain. And this is going to be a huge episode.
Yeah.
I know we've got a lot planned to go over in terms of what happened leading into this, what we expect from the playoffs and everything. I don't know if any of you guys have anything else to mention in the intro before we want to keep going here, or...
I will give a heads up. We are going to be uploading the same audio to both podcasts. So
Yeah,
if you
good
saw
call.
2 new episodes and you were like, "Whoa, those are 2 massive episodes," I'm so sorry. It's the same episode
It's
twice.
the same. Yeah.
But you're welcome to go listen to both.
It's good for the numbers.
hmm
Yeah, I'm fired up though. I'm so excited to be like in the history of the Zubcast at least. What has been, I mean, Louis, maybe you would know, like what has been like the episode in which there was like the Sens were at their most competitive?
Oh, woof. You know that I have a full spreadsheet of
Yeah,
Zubcast
that's why
stats for
I
when
asked
we like
you.
reach a thing for
Yeah.
attendance
Yeah.
on all of us. But I honestly don't remember. I can remember the lowest point,
Yeah, the
which
Lone
was
Star.
at least we have a Lone Star episode,
Yeah, that was brutal.
which was so long ago now. During
Yeah.
Gaudette's first stint with the team. But I can't even remember.
Okay, here's something that I'd like to do because my friends have I've had friends that have asked me this. So the last time Sens made the playoffs was 2017. Where were you in your life in 2017? And how long has it been? Like it was like I asked my roommate and he's like, I was in high school and now I have like a career and I work as an engineer. It has been that long. And I'm like, yeah, I was in high school and then I got a degree and then I got another degree. And now I also started my career. Like it has been like literally ages.
Yeah. The last Sens were in the playoffs. I was in high school. I had also just started writing for Silver 7. I started January 2017. And since then, yes, got a degree, did a gap year, have now enrolled in another degree that I'm like, I've got one more semester after this one. It's
Yeah.
wild. I was actually thinking, I was realizing the other day when I was buying Sens merch, and I was like, why did I have such vivid memories of like maximizing my time at the Sens store in person? Why wasn't I ordering stuff online last time? And I realized I didn't have a credit card the last time the Sens were in the playoffs.
My god. Oh, it's been very long. 8 years is a long time, dude. A lot can happen in eight
It
years.
is.
Yeah. What about you, Louis? You have anything special that you were doing 7 years ago? Well, you were watching with me 7 years ago, actually.
Yeah, so Adam and I had just become pretty good friends, like leading into that year, or maybe a year or two before, I would say, because we had started playing minor hockey together. And yeah, we were watching the games at the same time. Like we were in grade 10.
Great.
And now, yeah, degree done, working in like on LB hockey stuff, having to get to collaborate with NHL teams, which is something I did not think would be something I could have been doing at the point that the Sens were in the playoffs back in 2017. And the story I always tell is that at that time in grade 10, when the Sens were still in it, I hadn't missed a day of school for being sick or anything in like 8 years, like maybe even 9. It had been since grade 1. And for the week after the Kunitz goal, I missed, I think, 4 or 5 days straight of school. My body fully gave out, and I was sick for a week. It was brutal.
Yeah, that's just
so I'm so excited to do that again. Really, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, you've been healthy for too long, Lewis. It's time.
Yeah.
Airs Burner, are you gonna reveal any personal information or just stay history?
Well, I'm embarrassed because I was in grade 11, so I'm a year older, and so
You're younger than me though. I was in grade
true.
12.
Okay. Yeah, that's basically it. And I was like, oh, now I'm gonna be so old soon. But other than that, not much. I did get in trouble the day after the like Kunitz goal. I was talking about it with my friends in the hallway, and I like said a bad word or something, and then my math teacher like yelled at me, and I was like, no, I'm so emotional. Like, you can't also yell at me.
It's just crazy. Like the point is everyone was very different, and now we are very different than what we were in high school. And it took that long for the Sens to make the playoffs. But now they're going to make the playoffs, and that's very exciting. And it is like almost 100% confirmed that they're going to play the Leafs, which I still kind of am having a little bit of trouble wrapping my head around that, to be honest. Like, I was talking, because I'm not, like, I don't think any of us are really old enough to know what it was like back in the day. But, like, I was talking to my dad about it, and I'm like, he's been a Sens fan for, like, longer than I've been alive. And so I'm like, hey, like, Dad, like, what are you thinking about this? Like, aren't you excited? Like, we've played the Leafs well. And he's like, I am, like, so scarred from that time. Like, it was like 20 to 25 years ago, and he's like, I honestly, like, I cannot imagine it. Like, I'm gonna have to be alone to watch this. And so, like, I know, like, you know, there's like the Liam stuff, and like I know that they didn't play well, but I gotta say, I'm like really looking forward to them playing the Leafs. Like, I would so much rather them play the Leafs than like Tampa or Florida. So I think, I don't know about you guys, but I think that's kind of like best case scenario.
I feel like we've had time to get used to the idea. Like, it was kind of scary at first, and now I'm like, no, this is what I want. Let us at him.
Yeah, I know a loss would be potentially worse than against any other team, but it could be so sweet if we do beat them. Like, it wouldn't even compare to defeating any other team. And plus, we'd have with Tavares and Marner's contracts expiring, the rumor that Marner won't come back, we could like hold it over the heads that we essentially ran Marner out of town by having him play his last games in that series. That would be so massive.
Ultimate sensing. And
yeah, it would be the ultimate sensing. Did we like, this is another thing, is I wasn't really chronically online back then, to the same level that I am now. So like, we didn't used to, like, we were never in a state, I don't think, where we'd say we sensed them in the playoffs ever, did we? Like, unless I'm misremembering.
No, that started in 2021.
Yep.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yep.
Like, this could be the first ever playoff sensing by us. Obviously, Nick Paul has done it, and other former Sens players have done it, like to the Leafs.
Yeah.
But directly from within the team could be the first.
There's also so much more pressure on the Leafs than the Sens in this series. Like, oh, it's not even close. Like, if you think people in Ottawa are afraid of this, you should listen to Overdrive. Like, it is crazy what is happening at TSN right now. Like, they're like, everything comes down to this. Like, the entire legacy of the core and the team is like completely riding on this series. And the Sens are just like, we're kind of just happy to be here right now, which is great. Like, they, like, in my opinion, even if it's the Leafs, no matter what happens in the first round, unless they get like terribly swept, which I don't think is going to happen, the Sens have had a successful year in the grand scheme of things. Like, we're kind of like, the rest of this is like gravy now, but the Leafs need this so badly, and they probably, I don't know, like, they just don't play the Sens very well. So this could be like, it could be a sensing of pretty epic proportions. Like, it's shaping up to be that.
And awesome Leafs fans have been terrified of this. Like, all the podcasts and stuff have been talking about how afraid they are of this outcome. So yeah, very excited.
Yes.
I did want to ask before we start previewing the actual playoffs here. Like, I know we mentioned about like all the past and the playoff drought and stuff, but I did have one thing I wanted to touch on is that throughout all of these years without the playoffs, who was your favorite obscure depth player on the team?
Oh, this is my favorite question.
I knew this was pandering to Adam a little bit because this is literally his type of flair.
Favorite
Well,
question.
I believe Ericsson's Brenner has one too.
Yeah, go on.
I feel like mine, like I made him famous in my head, so to me he's not even like underground anymore. But like Eric Brandstrom was always like I believed in him deeply. He wasn't depth in my heart, so
Yeah, that caught on in like mainstream Sens Twitter. Like a lot of people were on that train. Like, there's a lot of Brandstrom. I mean, both of these podcasts specifically were very Brandstrom heavy podcasts.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good one. I have so many that I could just like think about a lot, and I'm like, where are they now? Like, I'm wondering if they're appreciating this. I think of the Brian Gibbons Linsanity run back in the day.
That was going to be my pick.
I knew
love a
Louis
good
would like
Brian
that.
Gibbons player.
He was unbelievable. I think of him a lot. I think of when they brought back Ryan Dzingel for the second time. People forget that happened, but he was back at some point, and it was kind of hilarious. Everyone hates on Derek Stepan, which I kind of do too, but he was kind of funny for like a week when he showed up. Everyone was kind of liking him, and he was like the uncle, and then he just got injured and never played for the team again, and I was like, that's kind of hilarious. So those are like the three that kind of go back and forth in my mind about. And then there's like the ridiculous, there was one year where the Sens used like 20 defensemen, and like Justin Falk played a game. Yeah, I don't even remember what he looked like or if he even played. Like that might have been a dream that I just came up with in my brain that he played. He was there. They had like Eric Bergdorfer was on the team for a little
was
bit.
that like the Capital Gains guy? Like Capital Gains like to bring him up, I think, a lot.
No, what was his name? It was a different guy. It was
It wasn't Bergdorfer?
No, it wasn't. Oh my god, I can't believe we're
maybe.
blanking on this. It was a different guy. I know it for a fact. I'm gonna have to look this up because it's really making me upset.
I'd say
But
while
I'm
we
gonna
look it up,
find
Beata can go with her
Yeah.
with her
First of
pick.
all, I want to say that I'm pretty sure the reason it came up in the podcast is because before recording, I looked up, which players wore number 40 for the Sens so we can name the episode after them. I was like, oh no, we cannot do our Sens versus Leaf preview episode Patrick Lem.
Yeah.
We need another one. And then we came up with Bill Dumont, and so then we started remembering some guys. I don't know, I don't really have like emotional support fourth liners. I feel like a lot of my favorite guys have been the really good players. Although I would say Adam Gaudette, both times.
Yeah.
I have appreciated him. Maybe that's my emotional support fourth liner.
The player that we were thinking of, just to interrupt rudely, was Cody Golubeff, Lewis.
Oh,
yeah.
you're so right.
And I'm just looking at the
Yeah,
Belleville team from that year. There are some great pulls on this team. There was Logan Shaw, Clark Bishop. Do you remember Clark Bishop?
Of course.
That guy was sick. People were getting
He was
fired
tall,
up
wasn't he?
Yeah, he was tall. He was a big guy. People were getting fired up about him. Christian Wolanin was on this team. Ole Alsing was on this team. You remember Ole Alsing? He played like 2 games. They had, who else? They had Schlappick. You remember Schlappick? He was on this team. What a great, this is like a crazy Belleville team.
Oh, guys, Igor Sokolov.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Igor Sokolov is on this team. Yeah, he was pretty legendary.
number one woman respecter.
He was on this team. Parker Kelly. Do you remember Baudin? JC Baudin.
I was about to say Ole Alsing gives me JC Baudin vibes.
Yeah, man.
100%.
They were on, probably because they were on the same team, but yeah, they were on there both. There have been so many like just rando useless players on the Sens. Like other teams probably don't sit around and talk about this. Like it's like, do you remember like 6 years ago, like that one guy that we kind of played for us for like 12 games and everyone was super fired up about it? I feel like this is such like a Sens niche thing to discuss.
This
like
is
the
how
amount of
I will be
players.
talking about Crookshank in 5 years, by the
Yeah,
way.
just thinking about that. Yeah.
Like I don't have any of the jerseys up right now, but like I will be like going back there to pull out like the 2 Angus jerseys to just I mean, that's the thing is you guys pretty much hit all the notes. Like obviously aside from Angus, the Clark Bishop was hilarious during the COVID season. And yeah, it It was a pretty crazy stretch. I mean, we've had so many defense and so many forwards. There's a year where we had, I think, almost tied the record for most goalies used
Yes.
in a season,
Oh,
which was
yeah.
unbelievable.
That was nuts.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy. I'm just so happy we're finally here. The other thing that we had that we wanted to talk about and get into, for those that might be getting into the Sens more now that we're talking about playoffs and have gone in a hibernation either or are completely new to the team from the playoff drought, is what we should introduce people to or bring up specifically for Bandwagons fans and what should be known from the deep lore of Sens fandom.
I will preface this with I do have an article going up on Wednesday, so probably before this episode gets posted, unless you're really fast at editing this, Louis, that will be pretty much this. So
Yeah.
I have already come up with some ideas, and if there are good ideas presented here, they might make it into the article as well. So everyone go make sure to share the article. So I have ideas, but I'm gonna leave it to the rest of you to to see if there are other things you want to bring up.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about this either.
This one was one of the ones that I had the toughest time to bring up with specific. Like the one thing I'm thinking about is if I'm a completely
But there's answers that people would just know by just knowing that hockey and the NHL exists. Like they'd be like, your
Mhm.
captain is like hilarious and is just kind of Bambi on
Yeah.
skates a little bit. But
And he's never scored a between the legs before.
never. You know what? I was thinking of you a lot this year, Beata, because he stopped trying it. He hasn't tried it in ages, and I'm like, when is this?
He's
coming
gonna
back?
do it in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's just waiting for the right moment. But I don't know, like bandwagon fans, like, do they know about like Zub? Do people know
This is
about
what I was
Zub?
gonna say.
think
Is
so,
if you're
yeah.
a fan of if you're not a Sens fan and you come in fresh, like, okay, the Sens are my playoff team. You don't have much experience with them. I feel like Zub is a pretty key point because they'll be like, wait, why is this guy getting booed? Because that's easy to get, like something that's easily misinterpreted. And why is he such a big fan? And it's just, or why is he such a fan favorite rather? And I think that's probably the player who's the most like cult classic, like in the fan base, I would say, because as good as he is, he doesn't get nearly as much praise. Like maybe now that he's paired with Sanderson, he does get a little bit more appreciation throughout the league. But that's definitely a player that I thought of that has so much lore, with the 5-1 comeback being like him starting it with his first goal in such spectacular fashion on a breakaway. Like there's that picture that should just be in the Louvre, really. It's phenomenal. It's one of the wallpapers that I have in rotation on my phone. Yeah. It's just phenomenal. But yeah, Zub was like pretty much the big one for me. Other stuff I'm not sure. Like the bite was something I did want to mention just because
I forgot about the
just
bite.
to give an intro to how feral, maybe not, well, Brady is feral, but how feral the interactions of other players with it. Like it just makes, as soon as Brady is entered into any situation, it just turns animalistic. And that is the perfect encapsulation of it, really.
True.
Yeah, the bite is pretty classic. That was pretty early rebuild days. Like that was like a really long time ago. I kind of forgot that happened, but that's a really good one. I was thinking about the Greg empty net goal for this too, but a lot of people know that happened. Like these are not like mysterious, like beneath the iceberg kind of lore facts about the Sens. There's do people know about the sickos? Like when everyone did this, the sicko thing? People don't really do that anymore.
Your fans knew about that.
Yeah.
One, I think people should know the Shabbat lore, that he has like the longest tenured senator, and he deserves this. But that's just me. I'm a Shabbat appreciator. What I will say is there's one important thing that I think the Elite Sens Brain listeners might need to hear more than others, because a lot of people on our side of hockey Twitter are they tend to cheer for multiple teams, which I respect. I think it's cool. It's fine. A lot of these people are like, I just hope both teams have fun, just here for the vibes, whatever. That's fine. However, you cannot cheer for the Sens if one of the teams that you like is the Leafs or the Habs, especially the Leafs. You cannot go into this series being like, I like these teams, or like, oh, I'm already seeing people be like, oh, I'm gonna cheer for the Sens because they're so fun, but like, oh, I'll be sad if Mitch Marner gets eliminated. Like, no. If you're considering cheering for the Sens right now, I need you to picture Mitch Marner in the handshake line with tears running down his
Yes.
face. And if you feel an ounce of sympathy for him, I would legitimately rather you just cheer for the Leafs than you try to like play both sides. Like, it's so offensive to try to like for people to say that they like both the Sens and the Leafs. You have to understand hating the Leafs is like the most important aspect of Sens fan identity.
That was very eloquently put, and it's 100% correct. Because the only thing, well, not the only thing, but one of the big things that has gotten a lot of Sens fans through the last 7 years is watching the Leafs just poo their pants every year. Like, it's just brings you so much inherent joy as a Sens
It's been our
fan.
playoffs. Like
It's
really
been our
has.
playoffs. It totally has been our playoffs. I'm not afraid to admit that or ashamed at all because I take a lot of pleasure in
Well,
watching
I
the
tuned
Leafs
into
lose.
every Leafs playoff game. I
Yes.
was stressed with games.
Yes.
I was like, I have started liking the Lightning just because they played the
Yes.
Leafs in the playoffs so often.
Yes. So that's a big part of the lore. Like people kind of understand it that aren't like in like kind of like Quebec or Ontario. The Sens like it's just like a huge hate triangle. Like there's no getting along here. Like it's not like you can't just kind of hop on and be like in the middle of the boat and just kind of like I'll do a little bit of whatever. Like you got to pick a side. You do have to pick a side for this kind of stuff. So you're right. I think that's important.
One of my good, like, in real life friends is like, she was like, well, I hope the Habs make it because my brother's a huge Habs fan, but like, I really like the Sens too. And I was like, no, you can't. But then she was also like, something that I would say to like brand new fans is that like the Sens are actually good because like all my friends who don't watch hockey just remember
True.
that they're bad. So like a lot of them don't actually, they must not be listening to this podcast, but a lot of people are like, might be unaware that the Sens are like legit good now. So that's the biggest
Very
thing I
true.
want to.
And they're underappreciated by the national media. So the media
Correct.
won't tell you that they're good, but they are.
Correct.
Like you know they're good when the national media has them almost top 10 in playoff odds here and there. Like that says something.
Yeah.
Exactly. And yeah, it's like I don't think people realize how nasty this Battle of Ontario is gonna get.
Oh,
People
it's
keep being
nuts.
like, "Oh, this will be fun," and I'm like, "No, this is gonna be stupid." Like,
Yeah.
again,
War.
if you have any sympathy for Mitch Marner, you have to accept that you're gonna be seeing posts about how his daddy doesn't love him for like weeks, like until this series is done. You're gonna see these posts, and if they offend you, cheer for the Leafs.
Not the Paul Marner discourse.
Austin Matthews' hairline. Like, if you think this is mean, you gotta log off.
Yeah. You gotta be a soldier,
Yeah.
man. This is gonna be like it's gonna be insane. Like there's gonna be like it's gonna be difficult to be on. You gotta be strong if you're gonna be online for this. Like this is gonna be like a hold down the fort situation. But just to do a quick segue, although it's not at the same level of the Leafs and the Habs, this rivalry with Detroit has gotten bigger and bigger the last couple of years, and it is so sick that they're gonna miss the playoffs again. Like I almost hate them more than the Habs, but I don't. But it is just like they're so unlikable, and every time you play them, the Sens win every single time, most of the time, and the Wings just suck. Yzerman is a terrible general manager, and his plan never works. They don't have any good players, and they're gonna miss the playoff. What are they at 9 now? Are they at 9 years?
I was about to say
Yeah.
they're at 9 years.
That's
Last time they were in
insane.
the playoffs, Datsuk was there, I think.
Oh my god, that's insanity. I think you're right. It was his last year.
You remember when they got officially eliminated? I was just walking home from a bar, drunk as hell, shoveling down poutine on my walk back, and I saw this. And for some reason, the first thing I did was I pulled up Twitter and I just searched Yzer plan to see the Red Wings fans getting upset.
Oh
so
my
good.
god.
So good. Like they're reaching Buffalo territory. Like 10 years next year's gonna be double digits. That is insane.
It's true.
Like didn't they have this crazy streak? They made it like 25
Yeah.
years in a row. And now everyone's like, oh, like all the Red Wings fans I'm seeing online, like we have been through so much pain and agony. Like people should feel bad for us. I'm like, relax, guys. Relax. No one feels bad for you. It's incredibly fun for everybody to dislike you and wish the worst on your
They
team. And they're
won
gonna miss
16
you.
years ago. Like
I know.
They
it's
won
not
the
that
cup in the
long.
cap era.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you won
Yeah.
in our lifetime. Relax. You have had your fun. Time for someone else to No.
I have seen Red Wings fans make the point that like the reason the Red Wings rebuild is taking so long is that they had to undo the damage of like desperately trying to make the playoffs every year when they should have, started the rebuild a bit earlier. So I do get that. But like you also made some terrible decisions.
Yeah.
The best is people who are like, give it 2 more years. He needs 2 more years. Like, but it's like, okay, fair enough. Give him 10 more years. I don't care,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Sorry, I thought you guys kept saying that you were ahead of us in our in your
Yeah,
rebuild.
seriously.
Yeah.
What happened to last year when the Red Wings were so far ahead of the Sens because they almost made the playoffs?
They didn't, because that's just not what they do. They just do not make the playoffs.
Jokers.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is not as much Red Wings related, but speaking of long droughts, I was looking at the Habs who, could likely to make it, but there's still a chance that they don't. If you exclude the Mickey Mouse COVID seasons, I believe their drought is as long as ours.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think so.
Because they made it by being 24th overall in like the 2020 bubble playoffs, which, I mean, that doesn't count. Get out of here. And then they had the year after with the Canadian division, which was also, I count as one of the COVID seasons. So if you exclude both of those, the last time they went there was 2017, just like us. Like, that doesn't get talked a lot about enough, that they haven't had a legitimate, proper run. Anyway, the point is, it's a good time to be a Sens fan and a hater at heart.
Correct.
Yeah, and I feel like this version of the Habs reminds me a little bit of like the 2013 to 2017 Sens, where this is a deeply mid team that somehow just like overperforms in the playoffs whenever they get there. And it's very frustrating to watch as a hater because you're like, this team does not belong in the playoffs. But, as we know, it's hard to make it far when you're like mid and overperforming all the time because you're not going to do a proper rebuild and stuff. And I don't think they've gotten enough good talent from their rebuild. So if this derails their rebuild, and convinces them that they're like contenders now, I mean, that's a silver lining to them making the playoffs,
It would be great if they miss after like Demidov comes over and they lose the 2 games.
I was
The
just gonna
Demidov
say
was
that.
so funny when they all went to like the airport. I was like, oh my gosh, this should only end in heartbreak now. Like,
I know it's like it's I mean, they might be in by the time this goes out, but like right now we're recording this on Monday, and like low key, there's a better chance of the Habs missing than there is of the Lightning overtaking the Leafs.
It's doable.
It's possible, man. Go Jackets, dude.
I believe
could
in
do
them.
It. Yeah, they could do it. Okay, should we dive into these? I'm excited to dive into these superlatives.
So, as an intro to this, I started writing this podcast bit in my notes app on my phone in 2021 before either of these podcasts existed, I think.
Wow.
When I was doing This Amelnican Life with Poppy, and I was like, one day the Sens are going to make the playoffs, and I have a great idea for a playoff segment, for a segment that we can do in our playoff preview. And that is like superlatives, where because in the playoffs there are always random players that just like become completely different players in the playoffs. Kyle Turris, overtime hero, Marner, loser, disappearing acts guy, and I want us to predict which player is going to fit which archetype of a playoff player. Are we ready for this? Should I intro them? I don't know.
Please. No, this is
your bit.
Yeah.
This has been in the making for 4+ years now.
Yeah.
And also, disclaimer, I think Brady Tkachuk can be the answer to like most of these. We're going to try to spread it out. I also haven't I have ideas for some of them. Some of them I'm going to be coming up with on the spot. We'll discuss this. So the first one is the player most likely to become a villain to another fan base. Like, they just fucking hate this guy. Who do we think?
So 2 immediately came to mind. We're going to exempt Brady because, like you said, he can all of these. You could say Brady.
He's already a villain.
You're right, 100%. I thought of Ridley Gregg and I thought of Nick Cousins instantly for this, and I think it's more likely to be. I think the question is more suited for Ridley Gregg because I think Nick Cousins already is a villain to most other fan bases just because he's been in the league and he's been around. Like, who hates Ridley Gregg right now? The Leafs do already, and that's kind of it. Like, everyone else is just kind of like, oh, he's just a dude. If you have to play 7 consecutive games against Ridley Gregg, you are so gonna want to just like punch him in the face by the end of it. So I would have to say Ridley Gregg for this.
And that's a good answer. Honestly, my answer is Tim Stützle. He's already a villain to the Habs. The Leafs kind of hate him too. He is going to, I think, score a lot of goals. He's going to dive all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I also have him for another kind of similar question later, but I mean, that's kind of an obvious answer too, right? But I think people are going to hate Tim Stützle more than they expect to.
I think if he draws a single penalty, that's going to be discourse
Yes.
forever.
Yes.
Yeah. I had I knew that Greg, Cousins, Brady, whatever might be coming up here. So I went a little bit deeper and I was like, who has made me feel something like that? So right away I went back to think about how much we hated David Perron last year. I know it was one incident, but he's got it in him to do some kind of slimy stuff. And not just that, but like recently he's turned to be actually good. So if you combine him being an actually decent contributing player along with some sort of antic, like he feels like the guy to score his second of the game through a dubious long review goal that definitely should not have counted, and then like have a pretty long lasting impact. I don't know. I feel like there's something in there that he could unlock.
I can see that. So many good options on the Sens.
So many. Yeah.
I mean, let's not overlook Claude Giroux either.
Yep. He was. You remember back in the day when he played the Penguins and he had that shift where he like goes and he bodies Sidney Crosby and then he goes and just immediately scores. Like if you were the Pens fan, you would just instantly. Not like you already hated him already, but that is like an instant. I will never like you, probably for the rest of your career. He's got it in him.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait. It's gonna be so fun.
Mm-hmm.
The next one, I spoiled my answer to this one on Blue Sky, and I'm really curious to see what other people think, because there are a lot of really obvious answers to this one. Which star player do we think is most likely to just elevate, just hit another level? Like, he was already so good, and then he gets to the playoffs, and you're like, what the hell is going on? Who do you have?
I like your answer that you posted on Blue Sky. So I'll just say it. I like Thomas Chabot as an answer. I think that like he wants it so bad, and I think he's having such a good season already that I think he's gonna go crazy.
For starting with this, I'm just gonna say, all right, there is one player on the Ottawa Senators that is a proven playoff beast. The last time that he played truly meaningful games, I'm gonna discount the World Championships, like we hear about that. It was ironically 2016-17, a year in which he was, I believe, to this day, the only defenseman to ever win MVP at the World Juniors, right? Then he also won the QMJL equivalent of the Conn Smythe, the playoff MVP trophy. Like, he was a monster in those two tournaments. That's the last time he's played meaningful hockey, and I know it was a long time ago. I know that it was junior hockey, it's different, but like, I feel like he has it in him. He's been playing well this season. He has finished the season really well. I feel like he's going to get to the playoffs and we're all going to be like, this is the Thomas Chabot we were promised when he first came into the league.
Great answer. And also, this is the healthiest he's probably been in his career, right? Like, he's ready to rock.
Also, who is better equipped for like a triple overtime playoff game?
True.
It's true. He's already done it in his career just in the regular season like 4 or 5 times. He's played like 40 minutes. Chabot's a great answer. He was definitely on my list. I went with another defenseman because I think Jake Sanderson's going to be so good. I think he's going to be so good. Like, even just watching him in the Four Nations, because he only got into a couple of games, but in the gold medal game that they lost, he was unbelievable and he scored a goal. And he has been having an excellent season, and he's gotten better as it has gone on. I just think he's going to be such a gamer, man. Like, you talk about like someone who's equipped for a 3 overtime game. He can play like 60 minutes if he has to as well. Like, that guy is such a machine. And people are like starting to come on now. Like people are like,
Mhm.
like he's getting them more like attention, and people from other fan bases are like, oh, I like it's like just Jake Sanderson guy. Like let's watch him. And now what he's gonna do in this first round of the playoffs is gonna be like, okay, like he's like actually like everyone's just gonna consensus realize that he's just insane at hockey, and he's
Mhm.
gonna be so good. So I will say Jake Sanderson for my answer.
It's a good one. I also think that people are underestimating Tim Stützle and don't realize what a like absolute gamer this guy is.
Yeah,
Like he
yeah.
I think it's just the European stereotype that people are like, oh, he's not going to be that good in playoffs or whatever, but like no, you don't realize how hard this guy works, how much how well he plays when he truly cares, right? I'm really excited to see what he can do.
Especially if he continues through on that promise of like shooting more and focusing more on that, because we
Yeah.
know he's got a laser of a shot. And so I knew we were going to touch on Shabbat, Sanderson, Timmy. So if we can bring down the criteria to just general player most likely to elevate his game to a degree that's way above, I don't listen, hear me out. How about Fabian Zetterlund? Okay.
Yeah, love that.
Mm.
I think he's played great. The production has not really followed as we've know, but I think that's kind of obscene levels of bad luck. And I think so much of his game is geared to knowing how his team moves the puck around him and his line mates' tendencies, and using that to really get into spots where he can utilize his shot and his finishing instincts. That's going to be tough for any player that comes into a new system. And just because there's going to be a learning step every single time when you're doing that. Like when he got traded to San Jose originally, sure, you could say it was a bad team effect, but his production dropped from like 20 points in 45 games to 3 in 22. And we're seeing it happen again this time. He's still playing well and battling really hard, but the points are not coming as much. And I just think it's a matter of time before he kind of goes crazy. Like he's got the finishing ability in his career to at least go on a bit of a bender and score like in every other game almost. I feel like he's a potential player there for a big elevation.
Hmm. Okay. Our next one is very similar. Who is a player, a star on the Suns, who we think is finally going to get the league-wide respect? Like, I'm thinking, in 2017, when everyone was like, oh, wow, guess we should have voted Eric Carlson for the North Trophy. And
Yeah,
it's like, where were
yeah.
you? Like, yeah, you should have, right? So what are you thinking for that?
I feel like I kind of just like said it. Like I kind of just
Mhm.
hinted at it with the last answer, but it has to be Jake Sanderson. Like Jake Sanderson is so good, and he's like had it. Like since the Four Nations, people are like starting to realize how good he is, and it's just
Mhm.
gonna get even more so in the playoffs. If I have to like to not be lame and give a different answer because I don't want to use the same guy like twice in a row like that, I I don't know. I do think like part of me is like people don't really know just because he's a bit inconsistent. People don't really know how insane Drake Batherson can be when he's good. But if he has like a really good showing in the first round, and people are going to be like, who is that? Like, who is this guy in Ottawa's top six who's making $4.5 million, who is like just disgusting with the puck and like passing it was to like Stützle and all that and making plays. So I'll say my original answer was probably going to be Sanderson, but to switch it up, I will also say Batherson.
I honestly, I'm gonna go with Timmy again because I feel like around the league, people like athletic or at other like more league wide like news outlets. Whenever they talk about the Sens stars, they're always like, "Well, Brady is the number one, the big star, the guy everybody knows about," and I'm like, Brady's not like the consensus best player in Ottawa. Like I think it's Timmy. I feel like Timmy does not get as much respect as he deserves around the league for how good he is. Like people outside of Ottawa are like so sure that Brady is far and away the Suns' best player. And like, I don't disagree necessarily. He's very good. I don't want to like take away from what Brady contributes to this team, but like Tim Stützle is the most talented player here. He has the highest ceiling. And I think if he has a great playoffs, people are going to be like, wait, hold on. We knew he was the best player from his draft. This is one of the best young players in the league. Where has he been this whole time, you know?
Yeah, I was also initially thinking like debating between Shabbat and Sanderson, because Sanderson's gone to a point where I think there could be comparables to how Gus Forsling last year, after that playoff run for the Panthers, just started becoming talked about as a top 10 defenseman in the league, whereas I think a pretty decent portion of just general NHL fans didn't even really know him that much, and that could be a similar trajectory to what Sanderson had. But the main one I think here that I had was Chabot, because as you said, he's proven to be clutch, only defenseman ever to win the MVP at the World Juniors. And I think people, because how good Sanderson is, forget that Chabot is a legitimate top pair defenseman. Like he is, and not just that, like looking at the data I have on him in my model, he ranks 21st this season across all defensemen. That is not just top pair, that's number one defenseman level numbers. So I think if people tune in and just watch how smooth he plays, it's mesmerizing. Like that's the kind of player that you're gonna have just fans and audiences' eyes draw to, and I think that could really help his case in terms of reputation.
It was actually I was gonna say, and I forgot to say it earlier, my like boldest prediction for these playoffs is I think Chabot plays so well that he earns himself a spot on Team Canada at the Olympics.
Ooh, I like that.
Or at least gets into the conversation. He's an injury replacement or something. Okay, the next one I have is the one negative one, but I thought this could be fun. Who is a player that we think is most likely to cause controversy within the Sens fan base? As in the fans are torn on this player, or he doesn't play well, or something like that. This feels mean.
My answer is I think Tyler Clevin does something dumb very early, and and it just like I can see it happening so clearly. I just feel like it's definitely like 100% gonna happen.
We're hard on our defensemen.
Yeah.
Like he just loses his gap or gets completely blown by or something. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, oh man, like there's potential for disaster here, especially with him. Like there's already debates about how if he's actually really that good defensively or not, it's just going to get just exponentially bigger as the playoffs go on, especially with having to face the Leafs weapons. There's potential for disaster there for sure.
I think another answer on D is like so the question is, at least on the planner, is player most likely to create controversy within the Sens fan base. And I think just by playing a game, Travis Hamonic is the answer to this question. Like, if he gets in the lineup, everybody is just going to be like, well, we're cooked. Like, that's it. Let's go to the next game. And, like, they're just going to be... And then if they end up winning...
That's not even controversy, though.
Yeah,
I just hate him.
I think that was, like, everyone universally is like, ugh.
I have to change this answer. But I just thought of that immediately. Like, if he plays a game, it's going to be carnage.
I was also thinking, like, okay, with all their stars, like, all of his good players seem to like players who would do well in the playoffs. Like, obviously we don't know, but the one player that he's had some bad stretches this year. He's constantly missing open nets. I know, Adam, you said that you think Drake Batherson is going to get league-wide respect, but like if he misses on a big chance or something, or he has like a bad turnover, like I could see that happening. I could see there being like a bit of discourse. I don't think we're gonna run him out of town, but
it's fair. When you were going on your preamble for that and you said missing open nets, I thought you were gonna say Shane Pinto, and I was like,
oh no,
I was like, oh man, that would be really tough.
Pinto's great.
Like, every time he gets a point, they freaking win the game. So like people aren't really allowed to hate him. But I think that's fair. I think there's a bit of, well, I mean, there's as much pressure on him as anyone else. But yeah, like if he is not finishing chances or if he's passing up good opportunities that he gets from Stützle, I think I could totally see that for sure.
I think actually for a long time, my answer for this was Josh Norris. R.I.P.
Oh, sad. Very sad. Louis, what's your answer to this? Have you said your answer yet?
Well, it was mostly Clevin, but I do think like a sneaky option could be Gaudette in the sense that he's cooled down so much that if he doesn't really get any sort of production, there could be the what does he even do here discussions. Like it could just be like, why is he like just discussions of scratching him and putting in some other bottom sixer that will remain unnamed, but everybody knows who I'm insinuating here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I definitely think Clevin was the one I was thinking of the most if we exclude the Hamonic thing, because Hamonic for me again is less controversy and more so we all are united in thought on what should be the case
Yeah.
with his playing status. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think, okay, let's go back to the positive ones. That was our one negative one.
Yeah.
Now, none of us are betting people here, but the Sens go to overtime, and you need to place a bet on one
Yeah.
player that you think is most likely to score an OT winner. I feel like we all kind of have the same answer. This is the obvious one. This is Brady Tkachuk.
Yeah, for me as well. I was just assuming we would have to say something different than Brady.
I'm challenging
Like-
ever say something different, but I think here, like,
Yeah.
now it's like we're almost disrespecting Brady now. We've
I
gone
know,
so long
yeah,
without
okay.
talking about him.
So let's just like all of our answers Brady. Like let's just say that. If we had to pick a second, if we had to pick a second player, who would it be? Right? Because then at least we get some
I've got a
variety.
pretty decent one in mind for an alternative option, because I figured everybody would say Brady or that we
Yeah.
all agree on it. But so actually, Beata, as you said, my answer here would have been Norris if he was still here, just given
yeah.
that he just finds a way in clutch moments like that. So through transitivity, I think my answer is Dylan Cousins.
Yeah.
Oh,
good
yeah.
call. Call.
But like outside of just, the Norris connection, which means a lot, obviously, the Cosmos will respect that. But at the international level, he's already got a ton of really big moments. Like he's led I think it was the World Championships in goals, was the runner-up in points in World Juniors. He's won gold there. And he already has a pretty hotly debated, I don't know if anybody was watching the Ivan Halinka tournament back in 2018, but like that's essentially a step down from the World Juniors for those who are listening that don't. And he had a goal that he scored. It was against the States with literally 0 seconds left. Like, in fact, the clock had stopped, and there had been 0.2 seconds around that had elapsed after, like, by the time the puck went in. But because they didn't have video review, the refs just had to huddle together and say, okay, did it go in? And they just said yes. They went with the call on the ice. They counted it, and he went on to lead Canada to win gold for the rest of that tournament. So he's got proven experience of getting big goals, and I think he could kind of be a sneaky pick, obviously outside of Brady, to get one done.
I like that. Honestly, I'm also gonna say Timmy for this. I think I'm picking Timmy as much as I would be picking Brady. But like again, this guy, he's got a lot of overtime goals. He steps it up in big moments. I believe in him.
That goal yesterday was crazy in OT.
It
That
was
was
sick.
unreal.
Yeah, it was so sick. It was a great play. I am gonna go off the board. Well, not maybe like to conception a little bit off the board with this, and I'm gonna say Michael Amadio because 2 years ago, for some reason, I have a very distinct memory of Michael Amadio scoring a double overtime goal with Vegas against St. Louis in like the first round. And I was just like, oh, like what a beast. Like I was watching, for some reason, I was watching this game and I was like, oh, what a beast. Like this is the type of guy that would like just score a goal in the playoffs. And then I don't think he's got another overtime goal in his life probably. But because I saw that one in my mind, and honestly, like logically, that third line is going to get a lot of playing time, especially if a game goes to overtime. And I could totally see just like the greasiest Michael Amadio, like net side goal. Like Ridley Gregg is like half his body is in the net and like someone's on the ground and there's like nothing going on. Like I could see a Michael Amadio greaser going in overtime.
That makes sense. I was also gonna say about Cousins. I feel like this is a great opportunity for Dylan Cousins to truly like endear himself to the
Yes.
Sens fan base. Like this, he needs this. You know, it was an emotional trade for many of us, and I feel like we're gonna love him after this. You know.
Yeah, he's gonna prove it wasn't Buffalo. It was Buffalo, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Derek Brassard like coming in, and we were all kind of like, oh my god, he's not Mika Zibanejad, but he had some playoff moments, right?
He did, man.
How many
Yeah,
times are we
totally
gonna hear the workhorse from Whitehorse on the broadcast throughout the series?
Well, I know we're not betting people. The over-unders would be great for that, though. The over-unders on Workhorse from Whitehorse. Oh, man.
Man, we're gonna love him, I'm sure. Erickson's Bruno, did you give a pick?
I didn't, but my answer is boring because it's recency bias and Tim Stützle. So, but I feel like he is like heating up right now, like or like he's always been good, but I feel like he's like really revving it up right now. He's revving up the red. So I believe
Huge.
in
Exactly.
him.
That's
It
big.
was actually like after the game, did you guys see his interview when he was first star?
Yes.
I remember the whole game. I was like, I kept making jokes about how, like, oh my god, Timmy's so serious, but he's not even like celebrating. You know, he's the type of player who will have the best game of his life, and then his post game scrum is like, yeah, well, I had a couple turnovers here and there. You know,
Yeah.
I went only 45% on face off, so like, just got to work on those things. Gonna get to practice tomorrow. Be better next game, right? And but no, after the game, he was like hyped. He was really excited. So can't wait.
My dad and I were watching that post game interview with, and it was like we were telling each other, do we think he's going to do the whole the fans bit again, where he would just like just essentially say something to really get like a reaction from the crowd, and he essentially did. He knows how to play that really well. Like I know he could be really serious sometimes, but when he leans into it and really tries to get the crowd going, it's hilarious, man. It's just he's such a sweet little guy, and he's going to
Yeah.
destroy some psyches of Leafs fans.
Yes, you will.
And even like, do you think that the team gave him the option to sit out the last game? Because I was like, why is Timmy playing? Like he needs to rest. Do you think he was straight up like, no, I'm in a like goalless drought. I need to get going before the playoffs? Because in
I
my
think
head,
so.
that's what
I
happened.
could see it. I could so see it.
Yeah, like his production has slowed down, and he's definitely like, I
Mhm.
can't go into the playoffs with this drought. There's no chance.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, it's
He's
totally
kind
the
of
type of thing he would do.
superstitious.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna develop some weird superstitions during the playoffs.
Oh
That's my
God.
prediction. We're gonna find out some weird stuff Timmy's doing. He's gonna be shaving his head every other day.
Oh no, not again.
Okay, Adam, you kind of gave an answer to this one already, but what do we think? Who do we think is the obscure, unknown player most likely to just randomly become a playoff hero in the style of like Jean-Gabriel Pageau? You know, that's the main one I'm thinking of.
So I went into some stats on Amadio for this because he was immediately the guy that jumped off the page right away. So first of all, we know he like again being on the shutdown line, and if that line plays effectively like they will, immediately he's going to be held in high praise. And like I don't think we've had a player that's able to stick check like him since maybe Stone. Like it's
That's
unbelievable
Stone,
the level at which
yeah.
he can pickpocket players. But yeah, so looking at his average regular season pace in the like over a full 82 game season, he averages 13 goals, 26 points. If you look at his career in the playoffs, that goes up to 13 goals, 51 points. So essentially his production, both in terms of goals and assists, and as a result points, doubles when you reach the playoffs. And he's got a cup, and he's just going to be able to play a nice defensive role. I think he's going to be a big part of the talk of if there's Sens success, which obviously, why am I saying if there will be? He's going to be like one of the more underrated parts that people mention.
I didn't know this about Michael Amanio, and now I'm so like excited. Thank you. I was gonna pick Adam Gaudette, actually. I just think he's the type of player who
Me
just like,
too.
randomly shows up, and you're like,
Yeah. He'll just
Adam
score.
Gaudette sent us to the second round?
Yeah,
Sure.
totally. I was thinking the exact same thing. Like just a random like power play 2 unit comes on in the third period, and like there he is, and like just like flick one on, randomly goes in, doesn't do anything the rest of the game. I totally could see it.
It just gets a hat trick out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The exact opposite of like a model is just like his crystals line up perfectly that day, and like that's why he's the hero.
And I mean, not super obscure, but like I think Ridley Craig will
Yeah.
be
Agreed.
a good asset to the team too.
Mm-hmm.
But the beauty of this is we don't know. It's
We
gonna
don't
be
know.
someone random, and I'm so
Mhm.
excited to find out who. Okay. Our last one is well, I guess I there was another one that I guess we're adding here, but second
Mhm.
last one then is and this one's kind of related to like our earlier one about who would become a villain to another fan base, but who do we think would like just cause one specific incident that will just haunt the opposing team for the next like decade, you know? Because there's always stuff like that in playoffs where it's like it's a missed call, it's a goal that should have been called back. It's a hit that injures someone. Like, who is most likely to
The
cause
answer
this?
the answer has to be Ridley Gregg. But out of respect for the fact that I'm sure someone else would have also said Ridley Gregg, I think my dark horse backup option is Shane Pinto. Because
Oh.
Ooh, interesting.
I like that. Because he's like, he gets in there. He's like gotten shoved around more this year than I feel like he has in past years, and people are kind of getting. And he's doing this thing now when he scores with his tongue. You guys see this? Where he, like,
Yes,
sticks his
of
tongue out? And
course.
in a playoff environment, I could see another team like Morgan Riley being like, "We can't stand for this. Like, this is like insane, like immature behavior." And he just comes and like gives like a cross check and the like cross checks him right in the face. I could so see Shane Pinto pulling something like this, but I think my primary answer would be Ridley Gregg because he just is who he is.
I can see it. I do remember, like, this morning on The Athletic, Sean McIndoe did a prediction for the Sens Leafs series where he said that Brady Tkachuk is going to do something really controversial. And then what he said was, both fan bases are going to get so riled up about this that like everyone else is going to hate Sens and Leafs fans so much. And I feel like that's just a given for the Battle of Ontario. Like, guys, you gotta pick a side. You gotta get on board because like you're gonna hate us.
I figured we'd be mentioning Ridley Gregg here. And listen, I am not personally a Nick Cousins fan, but given the way he plays, I could totally see him doing something absolutely absurd. Like the way that he already does some pretty dirty stuff, but can still kind of score a greasy goal. Like I mentioned Perron being able to get like some long review goal. Cousins would absolutely accidentally but totally on purpose fall into a Leafs goalie or interfere a player that directly results into a goal. And like we're talking about, we know that it's going to be the Leafs pretty much in the first round. He's already has the eliminating goal in the deepest Leafs run of this core. Like that, this could, if he stops their hopes again, this would haunt them for forever, really.
Yep.
Like it would be a player that should have no business just being rent free in their minds like he is, but he's just such a little douche nozzle that he totally could.
Yeah, I'd say another honorable mention for me. I'm saying him for everything, but like truly, if Tim Stützle like draws a penalty and then scores on the ensuing power, like that exact move has like broken the brains of Habs fans. Like this could be catastrophic for Leafs fans. But yeah, I think Greg is the good answer here.
Yeah.
And Brady, obviously.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's gonna bite someone this time.
Yeah, he is.
Exactly.
If we're about to do this next one, at the beginning, I know you said Brady could be an answer to all of these.
Not this one.
Not be an answer for this one.
Yeah, I wrote this down and realized I could have gone into the superlatives too. Guys, who do we think will have the best playoff beard?
It is not Brady Tkachuk. I think my mind immediately went to Giroux because he's already got a good one going. And if he just like, because he's trimmed, like he keeps it kind of short, but he can kind of like, it's pretty bushy. If he lets that thing fly and the Sens go on like a couple weeks worth of a run, that is going to be a glorious, glorious mane on that man.
My pick is Jake Sanderson. I think he could just go full like mountain man. He's young, I know, but like,
yeah,
I think he has the ability.
I love that. That's unreal.
I could see it, just really shaggy, you know, just like
sure, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, the full Montana beard, really, like it's really getting in.
Yeah.
I knew Giroux was gonna be a possible option here, but I think a good sleeper pick would be Nick Matenpalo.
Yeah,
like he's got a bit of the Viking beard already growing. And it would not take much for it to like fully grow out and be some pretty majestic stuff. So I would say it'd be him. I also thought of a potential Shane Pinto mustache return, but I think that'd be too big of an endeavor unless it was a full cup final run, which I mean it will. Let's be honest. But Matenpalo for me is someone that I thought of as a good option.
But see, remember Jake Sanderson had like a really dramatic mustache that one time. Like I'm telling you, he can grow it out.
He can. And if we're
He's
counting
my
mustaches
pick.
as playoff beards, then you have to shout out Travis Hamonic, even if he doesn't play,
True.
because
Yeah.
he has had the best duster going all year. And the other guy besides Brady, can Tim grow anything on his face? Has he ever grown anything on his face? I don't think that's gonna be a thing either.
I know. I feel like most of the core is like there's gonna be
Can't
nothing.
do it.
I feel like Shabbat is definitely gonna stick with the Carlson like goatee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Carlson never grew playoff beards.
No.
Timmy is gonna do the Alfie shaving his head because last time he shaved his head, he got out of his scoring drought.
did.
So like every
True.
time he goes a game without scoring, he's gonna shave his head.
Yeah.
My pick was fully Travis Hamonic also, and I feel like it would be just like the best if the guy with the best playoff beard gets like 0 games played. Like knock on wood, hopefully that happens, but like I just see it happening.
That's good.
I was thinking, remember when Joe Thornton did that run to the cup final, grew out the like craziest beard, and then just kept it?
Yes.
Like he just had that for the rest of his career.
Yes. It's a scar.
Please, nobody do that. Oh my god. Anyway, so that's it for that segment. That was very fun. We're all completely correct, of course.
Yes.
Feel free to revisit this episode later to see how correct we were.
After the Sens have won the cup.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we're moving on to another segment. I have no ideas for this, but I wrote it down in case other people did, and I hear other people do. The Sens will have to come up with an intro, a playoff intro. And what do we think they're gonna do? They could always bring back the Spartan. It's been long enough. It's gotten funny
so
now.
So electric. But you have to make sure that it's like the guy with like it's the same kind of like dinky getup, and he has to have his script on the inside of the shield.
And he has to keep forgetting the words. Yeah.
Yes. It has to be the same. I think in terms of
I would actually hate that. No,
would hate
I
it.
say
It
it,
would
I'm
be-
like,
it
oh
would
my
be
god,
awful.
no, I want something that's actually gonna get me hyped for the game.
I know. Like I know Louis, I know you said you had a bunch of ideas for this, so I want to let you go. But my one thing is that they, like they'll do like a video, right? Like they'll do a video to get people fired up. I think I honestly think you have to do like a minute or two of like the worst things that have happened in the last
Uber
8
video.
years. Yeah, literally,
That
yeah.
would be crazy. Yeah.
You need to remind people how unwatchably bad it has been, and then everyone is going to get so fired up. Like if you start putting danger flutes in after that, it is going to be so electric.
So
Oh
it's just
my
a 2-minute Ben Harper highlight pack the whole time.
Yeah.
No, they just open with like with the players in the Uber.
Yes.
They're like, I don't know, some line, I don't even remember what they said in that video. Just one like egregious line about like
Yeah,
as you-
bring out the assistant
as you can
coach.
tell, our PK is pretty bad these days.
Yeah, Marty Ramo comes out for the ceremonial puck drop after that.
Marty Ramo, the first guy to have the worst penalty kill and worst PK.
Can we track down the Uber driver?
No way,
Drop
dude.
the puck.
Yeah, get him to drop the puck or get him to be like I think that would be so sick. Put him on the bench for a game. Oh my god, that would get the people fired up.
Oh my god. Okay, not totally related to the intro video, but you know what I was thinking of yesterday? I was watching the commercials and I was like, God, they need to bring back Julia Robillard for the playoffs.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm totally with that. That would be so good. Like they'll be like, oh, everyone's like, oh, Lyndon Slewage is gonna sing the anthem. No, here comes Julia Robillard to sing the Canadian national anthem. But she just says hearingisbelieving.com and then leaves the red carpet, and then we drop the fuck and play the game.
So the one thing I had thought of for the intro, like obviously, like there needs to be some sort of danger flute return. That would be ideal.
Yes.
But okay, this is, as I mentioned when we were talking before we started recording, this is very niche. So I grew up in a very dancing heavy household. My mom is a dance teacher, or was a dance teacher. My sister was in gymnastics and dance growing up. So growing up, I always like watched like So You Think You Can Dance when that was on TV. And then our family became really big World of Dance fans. I don't know if anyone in here also watched World of Dance when it was on air. In season 3 of World of Dance, what is largely or arguably the best performance in the show's run, there's this team called the Kings, where in the finals they pulled out a choreography that ended up being Emmy nominated, for how good it was. And it was essentially a Spartan theater battle inspired routine. And I think if we just bring them out on the ice, I don't think the audience is really like the same between World of Dance super fans and Sens fans in Ottawa getting ready for the first playoff game. But it could be pretty sick. I don't know. Like, it would be very niche, and I think that's the best kind of thing you could go for.
Second, I thought you were going in the direction of like the team needs to pull out this dance
Yeah.
in the
sure.
style of like
Listen,
that one episode of
yeah.
Glee. I would love to see it.
It'd be hilarious
That'd be
watching like Brady trying to do anything artistic. It like, oh my god.
Yeah. Like I think about that sometimes too, like Brady, like just doing any kind of movement that's not on ice. Like when he's married, like he danced at his wedding, presumably. Like how did that look? Like there has to be some kind of clip of this. He would have to be like 100%, like as soon as he's off the altar, he is tarps off. And he's just like doing just the most ridiculous stuff on the dance floor. But I would so pay for that if they dressed up all the Sens players in like Greek Spartan, like kind of like get-ups, and then you have them all on the blue line, like just doing some kind of like Aka Spartan thing in front of the Leafs. It would be so sick.
Yeah, I can't tell if it'd be funnier if we absolutely shat our pants after that and just got destroyed, or if we killed the Leafs. Like either way, it would be absolutely.
It worked in
peak
Glee.
content. It's true. There you go. So guaranteed it'll win. We just gotta make them learn this choreography. We only have a week. It's a perfect plot. Like this is what the Amazon series should be focusing on. Really, it slowly turns into a sports musical.
I keep forgetting that Amazon is following this series.
I know this is gonna be insane. That
God.
series is gonna be nuts.
Again, people do not realize how stupid it's gonna get. Okay, the next segment that we had. So, okay, when we planned this episode, we thought that probably this would happen after the Sens clinched the playoffs and before we knew their opponent. Technically, we don't for sure know the opponent, but we were gonna say that we would come up with the most embarrassing way for each of our potential opponents to lose the series to the Sens. But I think we're only going to talk about the Leafs here. What is how can we damage the Leafs emotionally?
Game 7 overtime. Has to be Game 7 overtime. There's no other answer. Although the only other answer is like, would it be worse if it's a sweep for them?
Game 7 overtime reverse sweep.
I was going to say,
oh my god.
I would not want to
insane.
experience a reverse sweep, but the
so
payoff.
Cool.
Oh, it'd be so insane. You're right. That would so be the way to go. Oh my god. Because the Habs,
I feel like that's the only way they haven't lost, you know?
Because the Habs series almost killed them. Like that people are like still very like sensitive in Toronto to talk about that, and that was just 3-1. And this would be like so new, like nuclear levels of I might never watch the team again. It would be fantastic.
And this team has like the energy of a team that would get reverse swept. Like
Totally.
It's kind of shocking that they haven't.
Totally.
I will say also this series feels like destined to go 7 because guys, I'm not sure if you remember this fun little stat about the Ottawa Senators Hockey Club. You're probably going to hear it if we get to Game 7. This team has never won a Game 7 in franchise history. Also, the Leafs have a terrible record in Game 7s. So, like, if this goes 7, like, the narratives for either team, if the Sens finally, like, the first series back in the playoffs, and they win in Game 7, that's like, you have slayed your demons. Like, it's a fresh start. We beat the Leafs, we won a Game 7, everything is in the past now.
I believe it's not even just like never won a Game 7, but also the team with the most losses in a Game 7 without ever having won one.
Yeah.
Let's
I mean,
go.
to be fair, most teams have won a Game 7 at some point.
Exactly, yeah. So the sample size is already small. But yeah, can I throw one little caveat or like extra thing to add for the reverse sweep Game 7 overtime winner? Can it be on a power play where Marner gets a delay of game penalty?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that is so sick. Oh man.
Like he's never coming back in that case. There's no way.
No.
Or Marner turnover.
Or Marner turnover, yeah.
Or
True.
Marner, or yeah, it'd be curtains. He would be so gone. Didn't the
There are so
when he
many
did
options.
and when he did that against the Habs, Marner, didn't he cry in the penalty box? Like, wasn't there literally like people were like looking at the video back and they're like, are those tears coming out of his eyes after he flipped the puck out of the like it would just be so insane. Him going down the handshake line after costing the game 7 overtime penalty, and he like has to shake Brady Kachuk's hand and he's bawling his eyes out. It would just be it would just be the best. I'd be so happy.
Again, if any of our listeners are listening to this and they feel even a little bit bad for Marner, don't cheer
Wrong.
for the Sens. Go away. We don't want you.
Yeah, this is the time to gatekeep.
This is the only gatekeeping I will do.
I had an answer for this that kind of went in with like a haunting moment. I feel like if like probably Allmark just goes on like a really hot streak and they just can't solve him, that would be like so devastating because that's kind of
Yes.
like always what happens is like the top line, they're just like, we just got goalied again and again and again. So I think if it happens like another time, it would just, and like that ends up being Marner's like last time in Toronto, it would just be like very devastating.
I love that there's so many different ways for the Leafs to just be so devastated by this series. Like, any way you slice it, it could be bad for them.
And the other thing with the Olmark thing is like the Leafs have struggled with goaltending, and with
Yeah.
Olmark, it was like they could have had him. Like
Yeah.
the Sens got this guy last summer. It's possible. So yeah, I like that.
Also, yeah, if it's like a Boston goalie that like they're not playing Boston, but it's a Boston goalie that comes
True.
over and then they lose to him
Yeah.
in
Extra
game
level of
7,
hunting.
I
Yeah.
feel like it would be very good.
A guy finally like beating his playoff demons. Leafs can't relate. Can't wait. I'm just thinking of it. Like, there are so many ways this could go wrong,
I
but
know. That's so
so many
close
ways
too.
it could go well for us.
Yes.
Yeah, I like so when we were bringing together ideas for that, I guess like we kind of essentially covered it because I was thinking like what would like the perfect Sens playoff game look like? But this is like if we're talking
We're
about
doing it.
reverse
Yeah.
sweeping the Leafs in game 7 overtime with a moment that would tragically haunt them. I guess the only thing
It would be in Toronto.
yeah,
It would
true.
be in Toronto.
I think
Yeah.
that I guess that's the one part which it would be great for breaking their hearts, but man, it would be so electric to see that here. Like if
Would.
that I guess that's the good thing about what a sweep would be is that the series would end in Ottawa.
Yes.
Also, like, okay, yeah, it's nice to drag it out. The reverse sweep is sure painful, but like, I don't know, a sweep would also like devastate
Yeah.
them, right? And again, it's like, I don't know, if you ask me like how do you want each game to go, I'm like, I want them to win 10-0. I don't want to be stressed. But then it's
Yes.
like, you know, a game, because yeah, it's like a game that would be enjoyable to watch versus like a game that in hindsight is like an absolute classic and you're like, shit, I can't believe I experienced that, you know? Like those are two different types of games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say game 7 double overtime, or not double overtime. I'm so used to saying that
Oh,
about the
no.
Sens. But like game 7 double overtime. Oh my god. I say those words all together.
Yeah, that's a conditioned
It's
response.
so bad. Guys, we need more playoff hockey.
Well, I was thinking about that too. I was like, what would be like the perfect level of overtime that like they would win in? Because it's like
Perfect level of overtime.
I don't think there like is there an answer to a point where it's like I don't want to stay up for 6 hours, but also
No.
how legendary that would be. Like I don't think there's a limit.
I would love to see it. Like in my lifetime, I'd love to see like a 7 or 8 overtime game. Like just to say that I'd seen it. Like that would be insane.
Linus Ullmark makes 118 saves in the game.
Yeah.
My one caveat is I'm like, okay, I have a lot of final papers due at the end
Yeah.
of April, and I'm like,
Okay, yeah.
as long as it's after that, because I plan to stay up for every game. I'm good at managing my time. I'm a morning person, but I'm like, if it gets to a point where like I will not be able to like concentrate the next day because I'll be so tired, I'm gonna be like not enjoying watching it, you know?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the only thing that would be left is like who would score in that game, but I think we kind of already went
So
into who
many
we
good options.
think is most likely to score an OT winner. Like, just imagine if Zub scored.
Oh my
the
god,
OT.
it would be sick.
That would do healing for like to repair years and years of fandom.
Here's the thing with playing the Leafs is like anything that would devastate the Leafs is
That's
a
true.
plus for us. So
Yeah.
so I'm like, Zub scoring would be great for us. I feel like I would love Zub to score an overtime goal against the Florida Panthers in round 2. But in against the Leafs, I want whoever is going to be like most devastating. Truly, Brady Tkachuk OT winner to send the Sens to the second round sounds perfect to me.
It does.
I think we're overthinking it. You can't get it's an overtime goal and it's between the legs.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
And sends to the second round.
And if Zub is gonna score an overtime goal, it has to be at home because the Zubs, like the crowd Zubs
True.
after that goal would be so loud. Like you
That's
just
the
would
game
not get
6
that in
OT
Toronto.
winner. That's
Yeah,
the game 6.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And at some point in, I don't know, game 4, right? Because it's a reverse sweep. They win game 4. It's actually a blowout win, and Ridley Gregg doesn't empty that slap shot. Because I was also thinking, like,
Down 3-1.
man, if games,
oh my god.
can you
Yeah.
imagine if we eliminate them and Ridley Gregg is like, let me do this one thing.
God. That would be unreal. Which
Yes.
player would be like most likely to do it after Ridley?
100%.
Okay, yeah.
The
I could
moment
tell.
the moment Greg pulls that move, I was like, he learned that from Claude Giroux. That's a Claude Giroux signature move. Like, G was whispering in his ear the whole time.
So, kind of touching on the Greg Clapper, it was essentially the main piece that I was focusing on for this segment that Bieta, you wrote down about constructing our ideal line brawl.
Yeah.
Because I essentially, the centerpiece for me there is Greg versus Morgan Riley.
Okay, so who are the 5 Sens on the ice, Lewis?
So, okay, hear me out.
Okay, wait.
Listen.
We need an intro to this segment.
Yes.
This is, I think this is how we're ending
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah.
We're ending the
Yeah.
podcast with
Yes.
this. We have, so one of my favorite playoff memories of all time is the Sens versus Habs line brawl. And I do not condone violence. I generally don't think fighting in hockey is great. I'm not I'm not that into fighting, but a playoff line brawl against
so
the
sick.
Leafs.
It's
Yeah.
so sick.
Look,
Yeah.
Like, it would be great. I think it would be fun. I say game 1 opening night face off, like opening face off.
Oh my god.
That would
We
be
Set the
kick
tone.
off
crazy.
the series.
Set the tone.
Either that or like same as the Habs one, just like a blowout win for the Sens where the Leafs get upset. So yeah, who if we are Travis Green, who are we lining up for the Sens?
Okay.
Hey, Ridley Gregg has a spot on the line.
Ridley Gregg. So the way I built out the line brawl was like, it was less so who would we send out and more which pairs do I want to see go off against each other, if that makes sense. So these were the pairs. I can run you through them and we'll see if we have any modifications or whatever you guys might prefer.
Brady Tkachuk
So
beating Mitch Marner's ass.
so so the second one was Brady, but I had Brady versus Max Domi because like both of them have
That's
like
good, too.
the history with their dads, and I think that could be pretty cool. Brady would whoop his ass, obviously. It wouldn't even be close. David Perron versus John Tavares, just because I want to see a bit of a geriatric fight, and I think that would be really funny to contrast between the hatred between
John Tavares fight?
No.
The amulet protects them from it.
We're just like, which players do we want to see the Sens beat the shit out of?
And then the other one that I really wanted was, this is specifically Zubcast focused, and it would be Zub versus Simon Benoit. For anyone who's listened to the Zubcast, for some reason, this depth defenseman that I don't even think was a full-time NHLer when we first brought him up has somehow popped up multiple times throughout the history of our podcast, and he's now on the Leafs. So this is the perfect opportunity to put the most random Zubcast regular versus the namesake of the pod.
And he's also the Leafs like Hamonic equivalent, from what I understand. Like nobody really wants him to play, and he's kind of a pylon. So him even being on the ice, like picturing him being on the ice for this line brawl is very funny to me, because something's clearly gone very wrong if he's on the ice for this.
So opening night face-off, yes, agreed. Right away, already done. I like the fifth slot was open for me. Like I didn't really have anything else.
It has to be a D, right?
Yeah, like I
I
thought
want to see
Clevin,
G.
but
Oh, wait, we think another defenseman, right? Because wait, at
Yeah.
forward we have Greg, we have Brady.
we could put
And
G
who's the
instead of
center?
Perron. I'm not super attached
Yeah.
to,
Oh
to
yeah,
him being
Beckham.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, do that. Drew instead of Perron.
I
Drew
want to
gets
see
Tavares.
I want to see G whip someone's ass.
Yeah, Drew gets Tavares. He could totally take Tavares. I'm down for that.
That's a geriatric fight.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be really funny. Giroud versus John Tavares. That would be so
That would be a
random.
great fight.
That'd be
People would be
really
talking
good.
about that one. That would be sick.
They were enemies in the Metro for years. Like they were,
Yes,
they
they
were the
were.
team captain. Like there's a bit of a storyline there. Maybe I don't know.
Isn't the answer the second Sens defenseman Travis Hamonic?
I don't want him on the ice though.
This is
I
the
know.
thing.
want him in
That's
the
what I'm
lineup.
saying. But this is
That's why I was thinking
in a
Clevin,
hypothetical.
because if somebody's
yeah,
gonna whoop it, like
fine.
just go crazy and will actually be in the lineup, hopefully, and we're building our ideal one. I had him there.
But if there's one way for Travis Hamonic to win back the Ottawa fan base, it's to get on the ice and beat the crap out of Austin Matthews or something.
And then get kicked
He
out.
could totally do it.
Right? Like,
Yeah,
It's true.
it would do well for him, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, low key, Jake Sanderson occasionally gets into fights.
He does. Yeah, it's true. I could see.
That could be funny.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is all with the caveat that none of our players get injured.
Yes. This is another thing that I kind of was thinking about earlier. And if Brady comes back, which like he will, but once he does, once he's back, like, is this like a fully? I'm knocking on wood big time here, but is the roster fully healthy?
I was thinking about that earlier today
That's
too.
pretty
Like
insane.
Crazy.
Well, even like the Sens haven't been resting any of their stars after clinching the playoff spot, which is a good indication that everyone's healthy, right? Like there were a few players who were healthy scratches, and maybe they wouldn't disclose if they were injured, but I feel like, if Timmy was battling something, he'd be out. If Shabbat was battling something, he'd be out,
Like Jensen's the only guy that I can think of that's very likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jensen's injured right now. But also, can we just I just want to go back to this because if we're talking about a line brawl, are we including goalies?
Oh. Yeah, I want to see Ulmark. Ulmark would never
never do
punch
it.
someone.
No, but if he did, it would be so fun. Him against Wall.
I was going to say, for his sake, it better be Wall, because Stolarz is huge.
Yeah. Stolarz is 6'8". Yeah.
Yeah. We've accidentally built like a lineup that could actually happen, because like Greg usually isn't on the first line, but like if we have Brady, Giroux, and Greg, like that's not out of the realm of possibility. And then Sanderson, Zub, that's a pairing.
That's a pairing. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's realistic.
This is gonna be so sweet. I think that's a great way to end this, though. This line brawl, like people can just have this image in their head of how insane this is gonna be when this happens. Like, I'm so fired up. I'm literally so fired up for this to happen. And we don't know when the first game is yet, right? They haven't come out with that yet. It's gonna be
Sunday. Like, we don't know for sure, but it's gonna be like Easter Sunday.
Okay.
I'm already in like, I have to be wearing a Sens jersey or a Sens logo on me at all times. Like, the other day I was on the metro and I saw a guy wearing a Sens jersey and I was like, "Go Sens, go!" And
yeah,
it was just, it's like, the energy.
It's crazy, man. And in Ottawa, the car flags are everywhere now.
Yeah.
I'm seeing so many car flags. I love that that's still a thing. Like, it's been so long since the Sens were in the playoffs and people are still doing. They're like, what do we do now that they're in the? I guess we put flags on our car. I guess that's what we're supposed to do. But it's been pretty electric in the city of Ottawa. And they put the Sens Mile sign up on Elgin.
I know. I own a Stützle jersey, and I think game one of the playoffs, I am gonna need to walk around Montreal just wearing wearing the Stützle jersey. I mean, hopefully Montreal is eliminated by then. Who knows? But
yeah, I'd say I'm gonna be in Toronto the second weekend of the playoffs. So I'm going to bring so much Sens attire to wear for like the few days that I'm there, just because like the timing could not have worked out any better.
Yeah, I remembered the other day that back when the Sens used to make the playoffs, I don't even remember why I did this. I used to paint my nails in Sens colors, and like every time the Sens lost, I would redo them and do another like Sens themed design. I never paint my nails. I don't know why I randomly did this during the playoffs, but I'm like, do I do that now? Like, do I bring back the tradition? I just need to have Sens everywhere. Sens
Yes.
colors, Sens logos.
Because we know
Yeah,
that
the answer is
correlates directly to their success.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why else would you do it?
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's just I need everyone to know that I cheer for a great team that's in the playoffs.
It's
Yes.
important for you to be in Montreal and like in Toronto and do that. I feel like
Yeah,
Mhm.
agreed.
you have to let them know they're not safe there. Like at any given point, a Sens fan can be there.
Yeah, because that's our reality, and we're made aware of
Yeah.
that very clearly here.
Yeah. You're gonna be like a jump scare for so many people, and you should take a lot of pride in that.
Yeah.
Actually, a last like question for folks: are we worried about the amount of blue jerseys that we're going to
Yeah.
see in the stands at the CTC?
Yeah, I am.
Yes.
Yes. Here's the thing: during the regular season, the reason there are so many Leafs fans in the arena is mainly because season ticket holders sell them to Leafs fans because Leafs fans are willing to pay way more than Sens fans are. And for a lot of Sens fans, it's like, well, yeah, that's like 1 or 2 games in the season, usually the least enjoyable games because the Leafs fans, like, of course I don't want to go to that one, right?
Mhm.
So like
Yeah.
Sens fans don't want to go, Leafs fans do. Playoffs are going to be different because Sens fans actually do really want to go to these games and are probably willing to pay a decent amount for it. We don't have as much money as Toronto people do. Because we're marginalized people. We're working people, not those, millionaires from Toronto. Everyone should cheer for us, by the way. But so I think especially like with the sale initially being reserved for season ticket holders,
That's what I was
that
going
will
to
help
say.
a lot.
Yeah, the org putting in work to really do everything they can to ensure it's as Sens as possible helps a lot. And yeah, like it's in the regular season, it's an
Yeah.
easy choice. Would you go to one game where it's a rather unpleasant experience with all the fans around you, or like you could pay the same amount to go to 2 or 3 other games?
Mhm.
It's an easy decision.
Right.
Oh, some people literally say that selling their Leafs tickets pays for their whole package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's how much Leafs fans, and obviously,
It's
yeah, Leafs fans
crazy.
are going to be willing to pay a ton of money to go to these games. But I do think there is a will among Sens fans to like keep them out of the arena, especially for such a special moment where like
Yeah.
it's their first time back in the playoffs for a while. Like remember a few years ago, the home opener was against the Leafs, and it was like all Sens fans. So like,
Yep.
and obviously, Leafs fans are a little less motivated to go to that game. But like I don't think it's going to be as bad as people are expecting it to
Mhm.
be. I think even in 2017, I seem to remember the Sens like almost selling out with just the season ticket holder sale. Like
Yeah.
all those series against the Habs, it was always like mostly Sens fans in the
It was all
crowd,
Sens
right?
fans. Yeah. Exactly. I just think like you've definitely seen it in the last couple of years. Like it has been like overwhelmingly like 75% Leaf fans at least.
Yeah.
And so like I don't think it's going to be that bad. If I had to put a number on it, because there's still going to be like there's no way for them to completely just not sell a ticket to someone
Mhm.
who lives in the GTA. Like that you can't really do that. I think it's going to be like 65 or 70% Sens fans, and I think that would be a great success if they were able to get that to that number.
I'm even more optimistic. I say game 3, 80% Sens fans.
I love it. I so hope you're right.
That 20% is going to hurt.
It will, but it won't look that bad. It won't look as bad as 50.
No, I think we'll have a good Sens fan turnout. Because it's also like, even if you limit it geographically, there are so
Yeah.
many Leafs fans living in Ottawa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's like, oh, Sens fans are more motivated to show up. But like, truly, Sens fans have less money than Leafs fans do. Like,
Yeah.
okay, is that it?
I
think-
think
I think
we
so.
covered a lot today. Yeah,
Yeah.
we covered a lot.
This is easily the
We
longest,
sure did.
like on our side for Zubcast. It's definitely the longest episode we've had in a while, I would say.
We knew this was going to be a mega, though. We all
Yeah, this
talked
was
about
this
it.
was the
Yeah.
point. This was the point. It's let's like the Sens have finally clinched. Let's pull out all the stops and make one huge preview episode.
And everyone's going to be so fired up. They're like, so much listening material for me now. This is going to be able to take up so much of my day.
Yeah, exactly. The real fans will listen it on both platforms. Just once,
Yeah,
and then a
double
second
time. Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody go over whichever podcast like feed you're listening to it on right now, like go over to the other one.
Yeah,
I was
switch.
gonna be like, we're gonna cut out one segment from each one and you won't know which one
Yeah.
it is. No, we're not actually gonna do that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Just to get people to listen to both. No, truly, like, we don't really monetize this. Neither of us
No.
do, so we
Mhm.
do not care about the numbers. Like, on Elite Sens Brain, we don't even look at our listener
No.
numbers, so
We're for the
listen
people.
to it on whichever one you want. But if you
Yeah.
want to go listen to it again, go ahead.
Yeah.
If you want to stream it on mute in your sleep, that's fine too. Like,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah. I mean, you're
we
welcome
would
to.
appreciate
we
that.
make no money, but like it feels good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Getting a chance to infiltrate our thoughts into your subconscious when you're sleeping, great time. Just really like full
Yeah.
Inception level stuff with the Sens. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like especially if you're not a Sens fan, but you're like thinking of joining the bandwagon, you know, like this will turn you into a Sens fan, right?
Mhm.
You just go to sleep with this, and it's like the go Sens go energy. Yeah.
If you replay the part where we said reverse sweep, like maybe you'll like lucid dream that it happens. So
Mm.
Yeah. It's a good point.
And you'll understand the joy that we would feel.
Yeah. So one thing I do want to say is that we tend to, I mean, we don't tend to plug our stuff as much because we just generally forget to. And every time we've had Bieta on,
Yeah.
we've had to,
Sorry. Yeah. Hello. Sorry.
we've forgotten to get her to plug her thing. So we're gonna go around and everybody can plug their stuff. I can go first. So you can find me on Blue Sky at Louis Boulet, just my full name, and find my work at LB Hockey. So that's lb-hockey.com. Bunch of different tools, dashboards, visualizations, and on the Zubcast.
So you can find me at C Beata, that's BEATAE on Twitter or Blue Sky, mostly Blue Sky though. And Elite Sens Brain, it's at Elite Sens Brain on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can also leave us an ask on Tumblr at elitesensbrain.tumblr.com. And you could read my writing at silver7sens.com. We have tons of fun stuff planned for the playoffs. Come hang out in our comment section. Come read our content. We are completely independent now, so also if you want to give us money, please give us money. We might even have some merch coming out. We've got a bit of merch if you want to rep your favorite Sens blog. We might have some playoff stuff happening, so go read Silver 7. And I think that's it for me.
I have nothing to plug. Go follow
Cool.
go follow the Zubcast on Twitter and Blue Sky. That's all I'm here to say.
mine is also just follow me at Erickson's Burner on Blue Sky. But yeah, Beata said all the Elite Sens Brain stuff.
So thank you so much to everybody for listening. It was an absolute blast. And one last time before the playoffs, go Sens go.
Go Sens
Let's
go!
go.